Scaffolded writing is a technique for providing assistance to emergent writers. It begins with the teacher providing maximum assistance and moves the child to the point where the child can assist himself using the same tool, and eventually to the point where the tool is internalized.
Okay. What are you going to start with?
He.
Okay. Go ahead. What do you hear in he?
D.
He.
D.
Okay. With the sound.
Class, we're going to do our journals now. And I want to remind you before we get started, what are the things that you need to be sure and include? What's the first thing?
Day.
Good. Write the date. And the second thing?
Name.
Good. And the next part?
Write.
Write your whatever you're going to write, okay? And the last thing I want you to do?
Write a paper.
In September, Mrs. Crane noticed that first grader Isaiah was having trouble. His paper revealed that he was not able to remember what he wanted to say long enough to write it down. His mind worked faster than his hand. So Mrs. Crane helped Isaiah by having him dictate to her his story, and she wrote lines, helping him remember all the words he wanted to write. Thus, he could concentrate on sounding out each word at a time. After 3 weeks of that, Mrs. Crane had Isaiah dictate his story to another child. With this support, Isaiah was able to work on first initial consonants and then on the rest of the words without Mrs. Crane's direct intervention. Now in February, Isaiah is writing without support, so he became an independent writer. Notice how much more he writes and how much more of each word is represented.
I learned to read Monkey, Monkey Trick, and I learned to read better books.
Although his spacing needs support, his fluency and sound symbol correspondence has improved. Let us look at the scaffolding used. The underlining was the mediator that assisted his memory. By having Isaiah repeat his story, Mrs. Crane used Isaiah's private speech. It was not enough merely to draw the lines. He had to be able to recall orally what they represented. And third, it was a shared activity in which Mrs. Crane suggested the strategy, oversaw its use, and gradually handed it over to Isaiah so that he could function on his own. In summary, scaffolded writing provided a way for this child to become increasingly responsible for the act of writing, and at the same time acquire the appropriate strategies initially provided by his teacher.